As we charge towards the future, faced by new challenges every day, do we think of a grand solution, or are we missing the better solution? While we are inclined to chase complex solutions for our problems, we tend to overlook the invisible solution. A solution that is silent and subtle, but can transform the world around us. A solution that can make all the difference. This solution is design. And good design is transparent. It lives amongst us, but gives us loud benefits, guides for the better, and uplift our nation because it influences our perspectives, our habits, and can help us rethink the way we see and treat each other. Design is about making sense of the world we live in, understanding people and our needs, and finding solutions within ourselves. Beyond all this, design is about being a better individual to create a positive impact in everything around us. So, learn design, practice design, and appreciate design. Make design a habit of the nation. Design in Sri Lanka.
Hello, and a very good afternoon to you all. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you joining us here today at the Design Forum, which is a part of Design Code 2022. It's truly a pleasure to have you all here with us today. So this afternoon's panel discussion will focus on innovative packaging for exports in partnership with Sri Lanka Export Development Board, sponsored by Printcare. And it is such an honor for us to have this opportunity to share this incredible journey and process with all of you.
Thank you, Jerusha. The packaging project, initiated by Level 3 Media and Communication undergraduates in collaboration with the Export Development Board, has been an eye-opening journey in an attempt to develop innovative packaging solutions for exports of small and medium enterprises in Sri Lanka. The project was geared towards determining how to implement innovative packaging solutions for selected local brands in global markets in order to differentiate them from competing brands on store shelves. Students' innovative packaging solutions for exports were showcased at the 2022 ProFood ProPack exhibition at PMICH, and you will witness the same this evening. To begin the session, we'd like to invite some of our undergraduates involved in the development process to present their journey thus far and the potential it has to pave the way for a brighter and innovative future in the industry. Jerusha?
All right, hello again. So I am Jerusha, this is Nethmi and Ray, and we are here on behalf of the third year Media and Communication Design students at the University of Muratua. So for the last few months, we have been engaged in what we like to call our packaging project. So for this year's proceedings, with the much appreciated assistance of the Export Development Board of Sri Lanka, we were tasked with the objective of helping small and medium enterprises develop packaging solutions with innovative designs, employing our design process, one that we practice very much here at the University of Muratua. So it has been a very interesting journey so far, and we went from seemingly knowing nothing about packaging at all to a point where we can't go to supermarkets anymore without looking at tea packets and overanalyzing why they are made the way that they are made. So in addition to that, we have our parents worried that our entire rooms are going to be consumed by the many, many prototypes and things that we've been doing over the last few months. But that's just testament to the fact that we have been so immersed in this project in order to get the best outcome that we can as student designers here at the University of Moratuwa. So please allow us to take you through our process and our journey. So enjoy the following video as we take you through it. So as you can see from that video, it has been a very hectic but very interesting and eye-opening few months for us. And we are very excited to take you through the whole process, but let me give you a rough overview before we get into the details of it. So we started off with knowing nothing about packaging and being introduced to the project as well as EDB at the beginning of this time frame. And then after this, we did a lot of groundwork. We did multiple assignments, getting familiar with concepts like what die cuts are, what stacking is, and all the technical terminology that we would need to carry on with this project. And then after that, we moved on to group learnings and brainstorming sessions and familiarizing ourselves even further and going deeper into our learnings and understanding. And finally, we met up with the small and medium enterprises that were connected to us through EDB. And after this, we did, after speaking to them, we conducted primary research on the matters discussed with them, familiarizing ourselves with what they were already engaged in, what kind of products they were already bringing to the market, and what the physical properties of those products entailed. So subsequent to this, we conducted our own research, expanding into looking into other potential market areas based on what our clients had already told us, either that or expanding on the products that they were already engaged in. And we moved on to our concepts and prototyping, finally moving into commercialization, graphics, and finishing, which my friends here will take you further in on.
Thank you, Jerusha. So we spent a lot of time with these companies in order to understand what is their mission and vision as a company to sort of have a basis to this project. And what we learned was these companies were unique to one another and their requirements were unique to one another, and the problems that they had were unique to one another as well. But we decided to look at the brighter side of things, and we thought to ourselves that we can do research and make these problems into our opportunities. So the most common problem most of these SMEs had was that they were trying to transition from exporting bulks to the retail sales. So if I go through the specific requirements that they had, so for the Kaung Cookies company, which would be rebranded as Choli Silonica, they wanted to export a gift hamper with an assortment of spices and herbs. And then Healthy Foods Lanka, they wanted a packaging series for a floral tea range for exports. And Helabim Foods wanted to export cinnamon to the UK market in the form of upmarket cinnamon tea. And Luck Nature International wanted a packaging to introduce their new product, which was a mix of dehydrated fruits. And then we have EcoWave. They wanted to export cinnamon quills to USA and the European market, the high-end market. And then we have Waffle Boy. They wanted an innovative packaging solution to store their fragile and edible bowls, spoons without damage, while transporting and storing and exporting to Gulf countries. And finally, Sehani Deshi Aushada, they wanted an innovative packaging solution for the export of tea made out of raw bale fruit to countries like Australia.
Hi, so what we did next was understanding the basis of what packaging was, because we had to actually make stuff for these companies. Based on the intel we gathered, we started with some initial background research on the products given to us to be able to understand their physical and chemical composition, because a lot of the products would react with the packaging and a lot of the products would actually corrode or erode the packaging. So we had to come up with a material that would actually be feasible in creating the package itself. So we examined the erosive, corrosive, and chemical reactivity and thermal conductivity of the product and what products required preservation of the aroma they had. For example, cinnamon requires the preservation of aroma. And we had to familiarize ourselves with a lot of these things to actually do proper packaging design. So in this sense, we got extremely well informed on pretty much the entire process of how these plants are made, from the seedling of cinnamon in like a bed of soil to the export and the shelves of the markets in a global scale.
So now we came to the stage of understanding our potential clients, customers. So some of the companies that we were working with, they knew exactly which market they were catering to and what kind of, if they were going for a supermarket or ethnic store. But there were companies that didn't have any idea which market that they would be catering these products to. And when we go through the design process, we usually make a client brief in order to understand our client's requirements. So a target market is a basic requirement in a client brief. So what we did was, for example, we had the company Kaung Cookies, or it would be rebranded as Choli Silonica. They wanted to go to the European market, but they did not know exactly where their product would stand. So we did our own research as a team of 4, and we figured out that Germany would be a potential market for them. So like that, we conducted thorough research, and we knew we could assist these SMEs to go even further and expand if they went with these potential new target markets or the potential clients as well. And another thing is, when we did this research and we found these new markets, we wanted to go with a special lifestyle or a special diet. So for the German market, we found that they are well into the Mediterranean diet. So we knew that Choli Silonica was doing Mediterranean spices or Mediterranean herbs. So we wanted to focus on the Mediterranean herbs, and the 4 of the members of the group, they decided to come up with 4 unique executions for this company. And ultimately, after doing research, we found out that UK market would be the best market for Helabim Foods and Ecowave, and USA Healthy Foods Lanka and for Ecowave as well for their cinnamon, and Germany for Choli Silonica for their Mediterranean herbs. Laknech International, which was doing dehydrated fruit mix, would go to South Korea, Japan and New Zealand, and Sehani Deshiya Aushadha, who was doing dried bale fruit tea, would go to Australian market. And then the team started to improve on the existing products, and they wanted to uplift the craftsmen of different industries through their packaging, and they wanted to give unique unboxing experiences and incorporate lifestyle experiences to these boxes. And some of the students decided that they are going to experiment with new products, and they came up with a new product range such as floral and herbal teas, aromatic fragrances, candles, reusable cinnamon quills, and so much more.
All right, so as Netmi mentioned, we were working in groups up until this point, and at this stage, we kind of branched out into our individual tacklings of this matter. And it's very interesting because we have very similar problems and a variety of different outcomes for the same problem handed to us or defined through these briefs that we created. So one important part of our process is empathizing, and one we feel that maybe might be slightly lacking in the industry at the moment, because we realized that there needed to be a deeper understanding of the specifics of who exactly it was that we were trying to create these packaging solutions for, when it came to demographics, geographic circumstances, age, culture, and depending on the vast range of where we were targeting around the world, these outcomes varied between the 24 of us. So I'm just going to run through a couple of the packages we had so far. So on the far end over there, we have one for, tea, for berry tea. It's for a weekly packaging that would give you the right quantity for a month. Then we have some origami-inspired packaging for a tea solution as well. Another tea one over there for a color-coded specific quantity to meet certain health requirements. Then we have one to package and deliver very fragile edible cutlery, which could be very easily damaged, and followed by luxury cinnamon tea. And next we have more tea and more, the one in the middle is a cinnamon hamper filled with tea, cinnamon quills, cinnamon powder, bees, honey, and a variety, targeted interestingly for spas. And then followed by another tea packaging over there. More on the pepper packaging for a Mediterranean diet with a very innovative, interesting style of packaging in forms of structure. Another one that created a cinnamon candle utilizing the spices that they had been given. Again, more with the Mediterranean diet. We had a few bamboo packaging as well that gives very specific quantities for the requirement that needed to be filled through consuming the products that they were creating. The one over here is for edible cutlery, once again, targeting the Middle East, specifically for Ramadan and festivals like that, targeting large families for gathering and things of that manner. More cinnamon packaging that we did have. This again, more packaging that's specialized into secondary use. So this was for a tea packaging as well. More dry fruit packaging. And another one, this was a tea targeting diabetic patients, especially an older generation. So things like the ergonomics in how the packaging would be opened were things considered in coming up with these concepts as well. And yes, these are a couple of other things that we had. And yes, we did employ a lot of empathy and really trying to understand our user and who it was specifically that we were designing for. And this really helped us in our process, and as you will see as we continue.
Once we kind of ideated and confirmed where our packages were going, it was essentially time for us to get busy thinking and starting to do prototypes. So the main thing we did essentially was create sketches initially And we did a lot of these, and we failed at a lot of these because to begin with, we didn't really know what packaging was at this stage. So the numerous tutoring sessions that was done with both our lecturers, who were immensely helpful, and even more so the people who came from the industry to so gracefully help us. After all of that, we saw unmistakable progress. We definitely got a lot better at packing things into a box, which essentially is what we thought it was initially, but then we realized it is a lot more complex than we initially had our presumptions set to. So, for example, we started experimenting. This is one of them. This is packaging that is for rosemary tea that has been developed, inspired by origami, the practice of origami, and making that into a more interesting mechanic into tea packaging, which is a really cool idea to begin with. But when you do it, along the way you run into a lot of issues, and then you figure it out. And the tutoring sessions were extremely helpful in that sense.
So far that of the process that we did get into, we had been familiar with things like conceptualizing, prototyping, but in this process we got the opportunity to get really involved with the groundwork, with the craftsmen, and we had a lot of help from Printcare that we are very grateful for. And we got to really think about how we were going to explore these concepts of sustainability, value addition, innovation, and export quality through this. So it was truly an enlightening experience to be so involved in this process and tackle such a wide scope of learning throughout the project as a whole. And none of us expected to end up where we did when we started. So we have so many people to thank for that reality. And now we'll move on to some final development.
So now we came to the level of commercialization, and we actually did not have any idea about commercialization because we were undergraduate students, we didn't own our own company, we were just doing a project. So that's where Printcare and the NDC helped us a lot. So when we completed our prototypes, we limited the materials that we would be using to boards and then craft materials such as wood, bamboo, palmyra for our packaging. So Printcare PLC actually helped us understand what kind of board that would be suitable for our packaging, because each one of us had different end goals for our packaging. Like some people wanted one-time use packages, some wanted stackable packages, and some wanted things to be reusable. So they helped us choose the best GSM paper, like the board, for us, and then they guided us through understanding what works best in our target market, because we haven't been to that market, but they were already exporting with their clients to those markets. So, for example, when we were talking with Mr. Prashanta, he said that in Germany, they like to have pastel colors in packages. So we knew that if we were making a package for Germany, it's ideal to use pastel colors. And then we learned about new printing techniques like spot UV and filing from them. And we knew that we could add value to our packages through these printing techniques as well. And then I have to mention the National Design Center as well. Designing is all about collaborating with people in order to come up with a unique idea. So we had the concepts with ourselves, but we did not have the skill to make a reality. So we collaborated with the skillful craftsmen at National Design Center, and they helped us make these packaging concepts into reality. They were open for our ideas, and they knew what exactly we were envisioning, and they helped us make these products out of craft materials such as pine, bamboo, and weaving materials like palmyra. So I extend our heartfelt gratitude to the craftsmen who work in these sectors as well.
So at the end of the day, about a month into our project, we had 24 very unique ideas, because our batch is a batch of 24, and we all had done a ton of research when we first started the project, and like our Netmi and Jerusha mentioned, we did not know anything in the beginning, and we rapidly grew into knowing a lot more things about packaging. Therefore, we had very unique concepts at the end of the day. So what we realized was graphics could make or break a packaging. We got into observing a lot more in our initial stage, and we realized when we went into a supermarket that graphics and the colors and the embossing or all of the things that are done to a package to make it look nicer is not just done to make it look nicer. It has to conform to an immense amount of rules and regulations, and we had to learn a lot in this process. And because we had 24 different packagings, it was a challenge to actually make graphics and make labels for all of them. Because we are also exporting this to different parts of the world. If you take the United Arab Emirates, the rules are very different from the US. The rules are even more different in Japan. So, like we mentioned, Germany likes pastel colors for a reason, and therefore we have to abide to that to a certain extent. We were able to still make really good design out of what we had, but we were still had to make things feasible also. So PrintCare was massively helpful in this. They told us everything they were capable of, like foiling, embossing, and different kinds of cold and hot versions of doing pack printing. And at the end of the day, a lot of us had learned a ton, and we had very specific stories for our products. So, for example, the two here are clearly for very two different markets. One is very premium looking, and that is for the UK upmarket where cinnamon tea is the product. The other one is for edible cutlery, and that goes into a very different market, and the client specifically had asked us to think about what an edible cutlery company like Waffle Boy had to bring to the table. So a bright pop of color, embossing there, another thing there. And that is all very different from this that was made for the UAE market, which had to have patterns and different conformities that would make it more appropriate for that culture. So we did a lot of stuff.
So this has basically been our life for the last 3 months, and it has been very, very insightful and eye-opening. A lot of us really did find ourselves and our groove as designers in this process. We did struggle initially because packaging is not often something associated with the initial thought of media and communication design, but boy were we wrong. We learned so much in this process, and it was very simply a pilot project, and we were mostly in conceptualizing but made a reality of these concepts as well. So we are very excited about what is in store for us as designers, as packaging designers for the future, and we do feel like we do have a lot of ideas to bring to the industry in the future as well that we are looking forward to. And this is only the beginning, so the sky's the limit. Thank you so much.
So as we have come to the end of our presentation, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Dhammika Sirivardhana, Mr. Dilan Silva, Mr. Anuradha Jayasinghe, Mr. Prashant Dias for the tremendous support you have given us to make this project a success. And I would like to also thank Mrs. Panchani Sulakshana for internal coordination, Ms. Chandika and her team at PrintCare, and the craftsmen at National Design Center for helping us in every way to make our packaging concepts into a reality. Thank you so much for your attention, and now we'd like to invite the panel on stage along with the panel moderator this evening, our lecturer and our mentor, Dr. Sumantri Samaravikrama. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So it was actually very nice to go back into the last 3 months. So now that we have actually got an idea on what the student project was, and also which actually got us to have this conversation, let's start our main event, which is the panel discussion. And for that, let me introduce the panel. And to start off, for this I would like to invite Mr. Suresh Dimel. So Mr. Suresh Dimel is an entrepreneur, an automotive and agricultural engineer, and a graduate from Cal Poly State University, California. Mr. Dimel studied and worked as an agricultural and environmental engineer in the USA for 10 years. Since December 2022, he was being appointed as the chairman and the chief executive of the Sri Lanka Export Development Board, which is the apex state agency for development and promotion of exports, and serves on several presidential commissions and advisory committees for inclusive, sustainable economic and development in Sri Lanka. I welcome you to the stage. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Anuradha Jayasinghe. He is the immediate past president of the Sri Lanka Institute of Packaging. He is the sector head of the packaging in the Ministry of Industry, Sri Lanka. He is also known for his expertise in product management, quality assurance, product development, chemical engineering, and printing. He is a graduate in chemical engineering from the City and Guilds University. Mr. Jayasinghe, the stage is yours. Next, my panel member is Dr. Ajit Pasquale. Dr. Ajit Pasquale is a senior lecturer at the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering at University of Moratuwa. He is also the president of the Sri Lanka Electronics Manufacturers and Exporters Association. He has received his PhD in computer vision from the University of Tokyo in 2001. He is also an alumni from the University of Moratuwa. Sir, please take the stage. Our fourth panel member is Mr. Krishna Ravindran. He is the executive director of Printcare PLC. He has joined Printcare in 2005 as a senior manager. This year marks the 17th year of his service. He has a degree in the Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, Finance and Management from the Georgetown University of McGraw School of Business. Mr. Ravindran, I invite you to the stage. So with the panel members in place, it's time to take this conversation forward. So I will take a seat, and I would request 2 FM mics here. Thanks. So thank you so much. I'm quite honored to be your moderator, and it's quite interesting since we started this conversation on innovative packaging design solutions. And also, I believe this forum is going to be mainly on educating the people interested in packaging sector and in the exports. So to start off the panel discussion, I would like to ask this question from Mr. Dimel. So I think in general, at this point, in the current situation of the country, what is the roadmap of EDB towards overcoming the situation? So what I'm trying to ask you is, how does exports support?
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, when it comes to exports, in the current situation, it looks very challenging. However, you will notice that the exporters have performed fairly well, and it has also brought us some opportunities, especially for Sri Lanka. There are food products and high-end food products like health foods, antioxidants, superfoods, things like that have come into the markets quite rapidly in the last couple of years. So that has given us an opportunity for export of value-added food products. Now, Sri Lanka has, of course, been exporting a lot of primary raw material. And this is an opportunity for us to add value. And I believe that packaging is the most important value addition and most obvious value addition that we can do, besides, of course, quality of the product. And most of our product, nutrition-wise and health-wise, are very good. We just need various certifications and so on. So that's what EDB is currently helping people to get the necessary certificates, compliance for high-end markets. So I would also like to say that there are some new trends in packaging as well. And I did a little research, and I thought I better share this. I'm sure that the students may have already studied this. But there is sustainable packaging, everything about sustainable packaging and so on. And then we have designed with hygiene and safety features. because that again is for the high-end markets. Then convenient packaging. Now this is, I think, what they call these bags that you can sort of keep on a flat surface and so on. And then minimalist packaging. That is for use of minimum resources, I suppose. And then transparent packaging so that people can evaluate the product better. And finally, connected packaging. I thought this was quite interesting. Connected packaging is with this new requirement for transparency and sustainability, and the consumers demanding that there is sustainable, that the product they buy has been produced in a sustainable manner with social and environmental compliance. So that also is a great opportunity for us to showcase that most of, let's take spices for instance, which comes from smallholder farmers, is a socially sustainable plus environmentally sustainable product, you know, from Sri Lanka. And I believe that this is an area that we need to emphasize on, and EDB is proactive, and we've actually spearheaded the rehabilitation of our National Packaging Center together with 15 other government stakeholders, where we'll have hopefully a one-stop shop for packaging innovation, design, and production. So thank you very much for the first round.
It's quite interesting. So you're stating the fact that the National Packaging Center will also support in this manner. So being in that context, Mr. Jayasinghe, my question would be to you, being an expert in the packaging industry for a while. So do you think this packaging that we are talking about would support the country or economy?
First of all, thank you for having me here, right? Fellow panelists. Yes, when you are trying to take a product, essentially a commodity, to any destination, packaging is so vital. But if you take the the simple definition of packaging, you are taking a product to the ultimate consumer in a sound condition at minimum cost in a sustainable manner. So each and every word of this definition is very, very important and meaningful. Some of the points, of course, Suresh just mentioned. From an economic perspective, if you take the Indian subcontinent, there is a thumb rule. The packaging growth is twice the GDP growth. So when it goes down also, it's the same way, right? So all the other factors or other sectors, subsectors in what I have mentioned in the supply chain is relevant to the economy as well as in packaging. So coming back to the definition, taking a product to the ultimate consumer in a sound condition at minimum cost in a sustainable manner. So every area of in this supply chain, there is economic subsector. So it is very important, I would say a silent activity that we all do as packaging converters and those who are involved in packaging.
Can you all hear me? Yes, okay. Sorry.
So, in that sense, now, what you're saying is the whole ecosystem should be working or catering to this, towards supporting. But from a practical point of view, my next question would be to Mr. Ravindran. So, I believe I can call you an expert. Expert in the market leader in the paint industry. So, and I would like to know a more practical point of view. So, you've been there, so we see it went on the requirement and support when it comes to exports, and then there's the requirement of packaging, but you are already in the market. So, what is the practical contribution, or what do you think practically is this? Internationally, are we able to fulfill this international requirement?
Yep. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate the students on some phenomenal work outside. I was extremely impressed with the work you've put in. That's some fantastic packaging there. Hopefully, we can use some of that very soon. And the presentation was also quite good. Coming back to practicality, I think the answer is absolutely. Just a couple of things that the students mentioned when they were presenting.